world. Introduction to lost technologies, vanished civilizations, and shared global myths of a catastrophic past. Across the world, scattered among deserts, jungles, and mountains, lie the silent remains of civilizations whose abilities continue to astonish us. Their monuments rise with impossible precision. Their astronomical alignments mirror the heavens. Their engineering often seems to surpass the limits of the eras in which history claims they lived. And yet these achievements belong not to a single culture, but to countless societies separated by oceans, languages, and millennia. This chapter opens our journey into a past far more complex than we were taught. Ancient civilizations, some well-known, others still shrouded in mystery, mastered knowledge that allowed them to build on colossal scales, manipulate stone with uncanny skill, and survive in environments modern societies would consider inhospitable. Their innovations were not isolated sparks of genius, but part of a deeper legacy, one woven into myths, legends, and oral traditions around the world. Yet much of this knowledge has been lost. Wars, invasions, natural disasters, and the simple passing of time have erased entire libraries of wisdom. What remains are fragments, stone blocks carved with surgical accuracy, cities aligned to the solstice, artifacts whose purpose we cannot decipher, and stories of an age when humanity possessed extraordinary abilities. Were these cultures simply more advanced than we imagine, or did they inherit remnants of an even older, forgotten intelligence, one wiped out by catastrophe? As we examine clues from Egypt to the Andes, from Turkey to the Pacific, we must consider a profound possibility, that humanity's earliest chapters are missing, and what we call ancient technology may be only a shadow of what once existed. Exploring theories that a highly advanced society existed before Egypt, Sumer, and other early cultures. Long before the rise of Egypt, Sumer, or the first great cities of the ancient world, some researchers believe an even older civilization may have flourished, one now vanished almost without a trace. This idea, once dismissed as fringe speculation, has gained renewed interest as new archaeological discoveries challenge the traditional timeline of human development. What if humanity's earliest achievements were not the beginnings of knowledge, but the echoes of something far older? Across continents, cultures that never met share strikingly similar myths, tales of a golden age, a sophisticated society, and a sudden, catastrophic end. Floods, fires, celestial upheavals, events said to have wiped out nearly everything. These stories, found in the traditions of indigenous Americans, in Sumerian tablets, in Hindu scriptures, and even in Greek philosophy, speak of a world before recorded history, a world guided by advanced understanding, astronomy, architecture, navigation, long before modern science existed. But myths are not the only clues. Sites like Göbekli Tepe, dating back over 11,000 years, show a level of engineering that defies the expectations of a hunter-gatherer society. Massive stone pillars, precise carvings, and organized construction, thousands of years before agriculture or writing. Is this evidence of a forgotten lineage of knowledge, passed down through survivors of an earlier age? The possibility of a mother civilization invites us to rethink humanity's timeline. Instead of a linear ascent from primitive tribes to complex societies, history may have risen and fallen in cycles, each era building upon remnants of the one before it. As we continue, we search not just for monuments and artifacts, but for the fingerprints of that lost ancestor. A civilization's wisdom may still linger beneath the sands, stones, and oceans of our world. How prehistoric architects 11,000 years ago achieved a level of design no nomadic tribe should have mastered. In the rolling hills of southeastern Turkey lies a place that has rewritten the story of human civilization. Göbekli Tepe,
An archaeological site older than the pyramids, older than Stonehenge, older even than agriculture itself. Here, at the dawn of humanity's memory, people carved stone pillars weighing tons, arranged them in precise circular formations, and decorated them with animals, symbols, and motifs whose meanings remain elusive. For decades, archaeologists believed that great cities and organized religion emerged after the invention of farming. Hunters and gatherers, it was thought, lacked the stability and numbers to build monumental structures. But Göbekli Tepe shattered that assumption. Dating back over 11,000 years, its megalithic pillars reveal an astonishing truth. Long before humans farmed, they gathered in massive communal efforts to shape the landscape with intention and intelligence. The scale of the site is remarkable. Some pillars stand more than 5 meters tall, carved with intricate reliefs. Lions, vultures, serpents, foxes, etched with a precision that suggests advanced tools and remarkable skill. How did small, nomadic groups transport and position stones weighing several tons? What social system organized such labor? And why build a sacred complex of this magnitude thousands of years before permanent settlements? Göbekli Tepe may represent humanity's earliest temple, a place where rituals, astronomy, and shared belief converged. But deeper still, it raises an unsettling question. How did these early people gain the knowledge to design such a site? Was this a spontaneous leap of innovation, or the inheritance of wisdom carried from a forgotten culture lost to time? Göbekli Tepe stands as humanity's first great monument, a silent witness to a past far more sophisticated and far more mysterious than history once imagined.
Parallels between ancient traditions, from Sumer to the Americas, that recall a world-ending disaster. Across every corner of the ancient world, from the valleys of Mesopotamia to the mountains of the Andes, one story echoes again and again, the tale of a great flood, a world-ending catastrophe that wiped out almost everything. These stories appear in cultures that never met, separated by oceans, languages, and thousands of years. Yet their details are eerily similar. A powerful civilization brought low by a sudden disaster, survivors struggling to rebuild, and a memory preserved through myth. In Sumerian clay tablets, the Epic of Ziusudra describes a deluge sent by the gods. In the Bible, Noah survives a flood that covers the earth. In Hindu tradition, Manu is warned of rising waters that will cleanse the world. Indigenous peoples from the Americas, Pacific Islanders, and even tribes of Australia recount their ancestors escaping a world submerged beneath the sea. How can so many distant civilizations remember a catastrophe so alike in form and meaning? Scientists now believe that the end of the last ice age brought sudden and extreme changes. The melting of glaciers, rising sea levels, volcanic eruptions, and perhaps even comet impacts. These events could have devastated coastal settlements and erased entire cultures from the archaeological record. If an advanced society existed before history officially began, such a disaster may have destroyed its cities, leaving behind only the faintest memories. Flood myths may not be symbolic tales, but preserved recollections of real events witnessed by our distant ancestors. Through the stories passed down across generations, humanity may have encoded a warning that civilization is fragile and that what once stood proud can disappear in a moment. These global echoes invite us to question whether the survivors carried fragments of forgotten knowledge, pieces that later cultures would inherit, reinterpret, and build upon. An overview of Egyptian scientific and engineering brilliance, and questions about where this knowledge came from.
Ancient Egypt stands as one of humanity's greatest civilizations, a culture whose architectural achievements, scientific knowledge, and artistic legacy still inspire awe. But behind the grandeur of its temples and pyramids lies a deeper mystery. How did Egypt acquire the knowledge to build such colossal monuments with such precision? Was this brilliance born within the Nile Valley, or did the Egyptians inherit fragments of a much older, forgotten tradition? Egypt's accomplishments were vast. They developed a writing system of intricate hieroglyphics, engineered irrigation canals that transformed desert land into fertile fields, and built stone structures with the level of craftsmanship unmatched for centuries. Their understanding of mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and chemistry was advanced enough to produce accurate calendars, medical prosthetics, embalming techniques, and architectural alignments nearly perfect to the cardinal directions. Yet some features of Egyptian technology appear almost out of place for their time. Perfectly straight cuts through hard stone, tight-fitting joints without mortar, and massive blocks weighing dozens of tons lifted with an unknown combination of tools and ingenuity. These achievements suggest not only skill, but deep knowledge, knowledge that seems to emerge suddenly at the dawn of Egyptian history, without a clear developmental path. Egyptian priests themselves spoke of an earlier era known as Zeptepi, the first time, when gods or godlike beings passed down the foundations of civilization. Whether myth or memory, this idea has fueled long-standing theories that Egypt's early dynasties inherited wisdom from a predecessor culture, one that vanished before recorded history. As we explore Egypt's monuments' mysteries, we must consider whether their technological genius was entirely homegrown, or whether traces of an ancient legacy, perhaps even remnants of a lost civilization, guided the hands of the world's first master builders.
Investigating geological evidence, erosion patterns, and theories of a much older Sphinx. Guarding the Giza Plateau with an eternal, unblinking gaze, the Great Sphinx stands as one of the most enigmatic monuments on Earth. Half lion, half human, carved from a single mass of limestone, it is the oldest monumental sculpture in Egypt, and perhaps the most debated. Who carved it? When was it made? And why does it appear far older than the civilization that surrounds it? Traditionally, Egyptologists attribute the Sphinx to Pharaoh Khafre, placing its construction around 4,500 years ago. Yet when geologists like Dr. Robert Schoch examined the monument closely, they observed deep vertical weathering patterns inconsistent with desert erosion. Instead, the marks resembled damage caused by prolonged heavy rainfall Egypt hasn't seen since the end of the last ice age, over 10,000 years ago. If the Sphinx predates the pharaohs by thousands of years, what does that mean for our understanding of ancient history? Another puzzle lies in its proportions. The Sphinx's head is noticeably small compared to its massive body, leading some researchers to propose that the monument was originally carved as a full lion and only later reshaped into a human face. This possibility suggests a monument far older than the reign of Khafre, perhaps belonging to a time when the climate of Egypt was still lush and green. Even more mysterious is the Sphinx's astronomical alignment. Its gaze locks on to the rising sun, and some theories propose that its orientation corresponds to the constellation Leo around 10,500 BC, a date that intriguingly echoes claims of a forgotten high civilization. Whether carved by Egyptians or by a culture lost to time, the Great Sphinx remains a silent guardian of secrets buried beneath shifting sands. Its weathered face challenges conventional timelines and invites us to reconsider the true age of human achievement.
Exploring the stellar alignment of Giza's pyramids, precision architecture, and controversial alternative theories. Rising from the sands of Giza, the three Great Pyramids stand as eternal sentinels of a civilization whose engineering brilliance continues to challenge modern understanding. But their architectural mastery is only part of the mystery. Beneath their geometric perfection lies a cosmic puzzle, one that suggests the ancient Egyptians possessed an astonishing awareness of the heavens. Engineer and researcher Robert Bauval proposed one of the most controversial theories in modern archaeology, that the three pyramids of Giza mirror the alignment of the stars in Orion's belt. When plotted against the sky, the positions of Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintika appear to match the layout of Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. Even more intriguing, the match becomes precise not in the present day, but around 10,500 BC, when the constellation appeared lower on the horizon. Why would the builders encode a celestial map reflecting a date thousands of years before Egypt's dynasties began? The pyramids themselves raise further questions. Constructed with millions of perfectly cut stones, aligned almost flawlessly to the cardinal points, and built with tolerances that rival modern engineering, their precision seems disproportionate to the tools attributed to the era. How did ancient builders achieve such accuracy without metal, cranes, wheels, or advanced surveying equipment? Inside, the narrow shafts of the Great Pyramid point directly toward significant stars, Orion, Sirius, and others tied to Egyptian mythology. This deliberate alignment further suggests a civilization deeply attuned to astronomy, perhaps far more so than traditional timelines allow. Were the pyramids mere tombs, or were they instruments, markers of celestial cycles, repositories of ancient knowledge, or remnants of a technological legacy now forgotten? The Giza Plateau may be more than an ancient burial ground. It may be a stone map, a message written in geometry and starlight, connecting Earth with the heavens, and linking Egypt to a past far older than we imagine.
Claims of radar-detected chambers, deep shafts, and the mythical Hall of Records. Beneath the blazing Egyptian sun, the Giza Plateau reveals only part of its story. While the pyramids dominate the landscape above ground, some researchers believe the true secrets of ancient Egypt may lie hidden deep below, buried beneath layers of sand, stone, and time. For decades, legends have circulated about underground chambers, vast networks of tunnels, and even the mysterious Hall of Records said to preserve the lost wisdom of an earlier world. In recent years, new technologies have reignited this mystery. Using synthetic aperture radar and ground-penetrating systems, researchers such as Professor Corrado Malanga and engineer Filippo Biondi claim to detect anomalies beneath the plateau. Vertical shafts, winding staircases, and chamber-like structures stretching hundreds of meters below the surface. Some readings suggest depths reaching as far as 648 meters, far deeper than any known Egyptian construction. Even more provocative are the alleged discoveries beneath the Pyramid of Khafre, where cylindrical shafts and spiral ramps appear to descend toward massive cubic voids. Could these formations represent ancient engineering works, forgotten subterranean complexes, or even remnants of a civilization predating the pharaohs? Mainstream archaeologists remain cautious, noting that geophysical signals can be misread and that no excavations have confirmed these claims. Still, the idea persists, fueled by ancient texts, oral traditions, and centuries of speculation. The Egyptians themselves spoke of hidden libraries and sacred chambers sealed away from the world. If such an underground city truly exists, its contents could reshape everything we know about ancient history. It might hold records of lost sciences, evidence of forgotten technologies, or proof of a civilization far older than Egypt itself.
Until excavation reveals the truth, the sands of Giza will continue to guard their secrets, silent, ancient, and waiting.
Examining the world's largest carved blocks and the unanswered questions surrounding their purpose and transport. In the heart of present-day Lebanon lies Baalbek, a site whose origins stretch deep into antiquity and whose engineering feats continue to puzzle modern scholars. While the Romans later constructed grand temples upon its foundations, the true mystery lies beneath, the immense stone blocks forming the platform on which their structures stand. These megaliths, some weighing between 800 and 1,600 tons, push the boundaries of what ancient construction should have been capable of. The most famous of these stones is the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, a colossal block still resting in its quarry. Measuring over 20 meters in length and weighing around 1,000 tons, it appears impeccably carved, yet abandoned at a slight angle. Nearby, even larger stones, the so-called Stone of the South and the Forgotten Stone, surpass it in size, reaching an estimated 1,500 to 1,600 tons. No known Roman technology, nor any ancient technique documented in historical texts could have transported stones of such magnitude. Why were these blocks carved with such precision if they could not be moved? Were the builders testing their limits, or following knowledge handed down from an earlier culture capable of handling megaliths at an unimaginable scale? Weathering patterns on some stones suggest they may even predate Roman occupation, hinting at a much older origin. Some theories propose that an earlier civilization laid these foundations long before the Romans arrived, perhaps one that possessed advanced methods of quarrying, lifting, or transporting unimaginable weights. Others argue that the stones were abandoned simply due to miscalculations or changing plans. Whatever their purpose, the megaliths of Baalbek stand as silent testament to an engineering mystery that has yet to be solved. Their sheer size defies explanation, hinting at a forgotten chapter of human ingenuity still waiting to be uncovered.
How Inca builders crafted polygonal walls, terraces, and highways with techniques still unmatched today. High in the rugged Andes, where mountains scrape the sky and earthquakes regularly shake the earth, the Inca civilization achieved feats of engineering that modern architects still admire and struggle to fully explain. Without iron tools, wheels, or draft animals, the Incas shaped their world with remarkable precision, transforming impossible landscapes into living cities of stone. Nowhere is their genius clearer than in Sacsayhuaman, the colossal fortress overlooking Cusco. Its walls, composed of massive polygonal blocks, some weighing over 120 tons, fit together with such perfection that not even a sheet of paper can slide between them. Each stone interlocks with the next like a three-dimensional puzzle, an architectural technique uniquely resistant to seismic activity. When the ground trembles, the walls shift subtly, absorbing energy rather than collapsing. It is earthquake engineering centuries ahead of its time. Beyond their monumental structures, the Incas built an expansive road network known as the Capacnian. 30,000 kilometers of pathways carved through mountains, deserts, and forests. Suspension bridges made of braided plant fibers stretched across deep canyon gorges, renewed annually through community labor. These roads connected an empire that stretched from Colombia to Chile, enabling efficient communication, trade, and governance. Agriculture, too, reached astonishing sophistication. Terraces carved into steep mountain slopes created microclimates that allowed crops to thrive at various altitudes. At Moray, concentric circular terraces acted as an open-air laboratory, enabling the Incas to experiment with seeds, temperatures, and soil types, an ancient form of agricultural science. Despite lacking a written alphabet, the Incas recorded crucial information using quipus, intricate systems of knotted strings representing numbers, inventories, and perhaps even stories. The Inca Empire demonstrates a truth echoed across ancient civilizations. Extraordinary innovation can emerge from the harshest environments. Their stonework, roads, and agricultural mastery stand as enduring testaments to a sophisticated knowledge system, one still not fully understood. Revealing Maya science, observatories, calendars, acoustics, and water engineering. Deep in the dense, humid jungles of Central America, the Maya civilization flourished with scientific and cultural achievements that continue to astonish modern researchers. Without metal tools, draft animals, or the wheel for transportation, they constructed soaring temples, complex cities, and observatories aligned with celestial precision. For the Maya, the sky was not just a realm of gods, it was a vast clock, a cosmic blueprint guiding every aspect of their lives. At the heart of their astronomical mastery stands El Caracol, the circular observatory in Chichen Itza. With strategically placed windows in corridors, this structure allowed Maya priest astronomers to track solstices, equinoxes, the motion of the sun, and especially the cycles of Venus, a planet central to Maya ritual and prophecy. Their calculations were so accurate that they could predict eclipses centuries in advance, all without telescopes or lenses. The Pyramid of Kukulkan, also known as El Castillo, reveals another layer of their genius. Every year on the equinox, the setting sun casts a series of serpent-like shadows down the pyramid's northern staircase, creating the illusion of a giant snake descending from the heavens. Even more mysterious is the temple's acoustics. A single clap at its base produces an echo that mimics the chirp of the sacred Quetzal bird. This acoustic phenomenon, engineered through geometry, angle, and material choice, suggests a sophisticated understanding of sound. Their mathematical system, based on the number 20, included the concept of zero, centuries before it appeared in Europe. Their calendars, including the Tzolk'in and Ha'ab, were astonishingly precise, synthesizing astronomy, agriculture, and ritual. In hydraulics, the Maya engineered reservoirs and canals to sustain life in regions without permanent rivers. Their cities were laid out with careful planning, reflecting social hierarchies and ceremonial pathways. Through their deep bond with the cosmos, the Maya transformed the jungle into a landscape of science, symbolism, and architectural brilliance, proving that advanced knowledge can emerge far from the centers of traditional history.
Tenochtitlan's floating metropolis, war whistles, codices, and hydraulic genius. In the vast Valley of Mexico, amid shimmering lakes and volcanic peaks, the Aztecs built a city that defied geography, engineering limitations, and even imagination. Tenochtitlan, founded on small islands in the middle of Lake Texcoco, rose into one of the largest and most advanced cities of the ancient world. With no metal tools, no draft animals, and no wheeled transport, the Aztecs achieved what many modern engineers still consider extraordinary. The city was connected to the mainland by elevated causeways, each wide enough for armies to march across. Canals crisscrossed the city like liquid streets, transporting goods and people on sleek, canoe-like vessels. Twin aqueducts carried fresh, clean water from distant springs, a hydraulic achievement rivaling the systems of Rome. Yet the Aztecs were not only engineers, they were masters of psychological warfare. Among their most enigmatic creations is the death whistle, or ehecachitli. Carved from clay and shaped like a skull, it produces a chilling sound eerily similar to a human scream. Blown by dozens or hundreds of warriors in unison, it could terrify enemy forces before the first blow was struck. Knowledge flowed through the Aztec world in vivid pictorial manuscripts known as codices. Painted on deerskin with natural pigments, these records preserved history, astronomy, ritual cycles, and agricultural knowledge. They formed an advanced information system long before printed books existed in Europe. Tenochtitlan's temples, including the imposing Templo Mayor, were aligned with celestial events such as solstices and equinoxes. Their architecture reflected a deep cosmic worldview, one in which time, space, and ritual merged into a single, precise order. Despite its harsh environment, Tenochtitlan became a city of stone, water, and astronomical insight. To this day, its achievements challenge assumptions about what technology looked like in the pre-modern world. The Aztecs proved that ingenuity, discipline, and belief can transform even the impossible into reality.
Grid cities, standardized bricks, drainage systems, and a mysterious script yet to be decoded. Long before Rome paved its roads or Greece carved its temples, a sophisticated civilization thrived along the river plains of what is now Pakistan and northwest India. Known today as the Indus Valley Civilization, it flourished over 4,000 years ago and achieved a level of urban planning so advanced that some of its features wouldn't be matched again until the modern era. Cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa were laid out in precise grids, their streets intersecting at perfect right angles. This was not a sprawling settlement grown over centuries. It was a planned metropolis, structured, deliberate, and astonishingly organized. Homes were made of standardized baked bricks, all identical in size, suggesting a widespread system of measurement and quality control rarely seen in ancient times. But the true marvel lies beneath the streets, an underground drainage system that carried wastewater away from homes and public baths. Every house was connected to this hidden network, making the Indus Valley Civilization one of the earliest civilizations to implement urban sanitation, millennia before many European cities adopted similar systems. Inside their homes, private wells provided fresh water, and carefully designed courtyards allowed for light, ventilation, and communal living. Public granaries, dockyards, and assembly halls reveal a society structured around efficiency, trade, and collective order rather than warfare or monarchy. Perhaps most mysterious is the undeciphered Indus script. Found on thousands of seals, amulets, and tablets, it features symbols unlike any other writing system. What knowledge did these signs hold? Laws? Trade records? Stories of their origins? Until the script is decoded, the inner workings of this civilization will remain a silent enigma. With no grand palaces, no towering statues of kings, and no clear evidence of warfare, the Indus Valley stands apart, a civilization driven not by conquest, but by structure, equality, and engineering brilliance. Across the vast landscapes of ancient China, from its fertile river valleys to its towering mountain ranges, generations of thinkers, engineers, and artisans forged technologies that would forever alter the course of human history. While many civilizations advanced in isolation, China cultivated a continuous tradition of innovation, one that blended science, philosophy, craftsmanship, and a profound observation of nature. One of the most mysterious sites is the Yangshan Quarry near Nanjing. Here, colossal stone blocks were carved with astonishing precision, including the massive steel block, estimated to weigh over 16,000 tons. Despite the impossibility of moving such a structure with ancient tools, the effort reveals a breathtaking ambition, a vision for monuments on a scale the world had never seen. The quarry's clean cuts and perfect right angles hinted a mastery of stoneworking that challenges our assumptions about ancient technology. China's scientific ingenuity is equally remarkable. The armillary sphere, an intricate model of celestial rings, allowed astronomers to track the movements of stars, planets, and the sun. Long before telescopes existed, Chinese scholars charted solstices, equinoxes, and seasonal cycles with incredible accuracy. One of their most extraordinary inventions was Zhang Heng's seismograph. Shaped like a bronze vessel adorned with dragons, it could detect distant earthquakes by releasing small metal balls into the mouths of waiting frogs, an elegant blend of art and engineering that captures the essence of Chinese innovation. Paper, another Chinese creation, revolutionized communication and record-keeping. Invented by Kai Lun, it allowed knowledge to be preserved, transported, and reproduced with unprecedented ease. Gunpowder and the magnetic compass would later transform warfare and global navigation, influencing civilizations across continents. Ancient China was not merely a society of inventors, it was a civilization that mastered the principles of earth, sky, and material science. Through curiosity, discipline, and relentless experimentation, it laid the foundations for technologies that continue to shape our world today. Seismographs, paper, compass technology, and massive quarry works that defy easy explanation.
Advanced architecture, astronomical alignments, and perfect interlocking blocks in the Andes. On the windswept plains of the Bolivian Andes, at nearly 4,000 meters above sea level, lies a civilization whose engineering feats remain some of the most perplexing on Earth. Tiwanaku, often overshadowed by its Inca successors, was a center of culture, astronomy, and architecture long before Cuzco rose to power. Yet its most enigmatic structures are found in a site nearby, Pumapunku, a complex that defies conventional explanations. Here, massive stone blocks lie scattered across the landscape, some weighing over 100 tons, carved from quarries miles away. How these colossal stones were transported across rugged terrain remains one of archaeology's most enduring mysteries. But it is not only their size that astonishes, it is their precision. The famous H-shaped blocks feature perfectly straight cuts, smooth surfaces, and internal angles so crisp they resemble modern machine work. Each stone appears designed to interlock with its neighbors, as though part of a sophisticated modular system. The level of detail invites difficult questions. How were such precise cuts made without steel tools? How were the stones shaped with such symmetry that even today, recreating them would require advanced equipment? Some theorists suggest lost techniques of stone softening or unknown tools. Others point to deep cultural knowledge of geometry and craftsmanship. Tiwanaku's mastery extended beyond architecture. The Kalasaya Temple shows alignments with solstices and equinoxes, allowing its builders to track the solar year with accuracy. Its walls and standing stones form a celestial calendar, blending spirituality and science. Metallurgy also reached remarkable heights. Tiwanaku artisans crafted alloys of copper, tin, and arsenic, manipulating chemical compositions with an understanding far ahead of their time. In this high-altitude world of stone and sky, Tiwanaku and Pumapunku stand as reminders that ancient civilizations possessed knowledge, mathematical, astronomical, and architectural, that modern scholars are still striving to fully comprehend.
Marvels like Kailasa Temple, Chanbaodi, and mathematical breakthroughs, including zero. Across the vast subcontinent of ancient India, a civilization emerged that blended architecture, mathematics, spirituality, and engineering into some of the most breathtaking monuments on Earth. These creations were not merely structures, they were expressions of cosmic order, carved stone reflections of divine geometry. One of the most astonishing achievements is the Kailasa Temple of Ellora. Unlike most temples built block by block, Kailasa was carved downward from a single volcanic cliff. Craftsmen removed an estimated 200,000 tons of rock to reveal a temple complex complete with columns, halls, sculptures, and towering gateways, all from one continuous stone. This method left no room for mistakes. Every cut had to be planned with extraordinary precision, guided by mathematical insight and an unmatched understanding of structural balance. Even today, engineers marvel at the logistics required to execute such a feat without modern tools or machinery. Equally remarkable is Chand Baori in Rajasthan, a stepped well descending 20 meters into the earth. Its 3,500 perfectly symmetrical steps form a hypnotic geometric pattern, engineered not only for beauty, but to cool the air and preserve water in one of India's driest regions. It stands as a testament to ancient India's mastery of hydraulic engineering and environmental adaptation. Indian scholars also revolutionized mathematics. They conceptualized zero as an independent number, a breakthrough that became the foundation of the modern decimal system. They calculated astronomical values with staggering accuracy, from the length of the solar year to the movements of celestial bodies. These achievements reveal a civilization that viewed knowledge as sacred. Whether carving mountains into temples or creating theoretical frameworks that shaped global mathematics, ancient India merged creativity with science, leaving behind a legacy as enduring as the stone it shaped.
How the isolated Rapa Nui carved, moved, and aligned colossal moai without metal or wheels. Far out in the vast Pacific Ocean, thousands of kilometers from any major landmass, lies a small volcanic island with one of the greatest archaeological mysteries on Earth, Rapa Nui, known to the world as Easter Island. Here, an isolated Polynesian civilization carved hundreds of colossal stone statues called moai, monuments that continue to challenge our understanding of ancient ingenuity. The moai, some standing up to 10 meters tall and weighing as much as 80 tons, were carved from volcanic tuff quarried at the Rano Raraku crater. Dozens of unfinished figures remained embedded in the mountain as though frozen in time. How the Rapa Nui sculptures shaped these immense statues using only stone tools remains an impressive feat in itself, but an even greater mystery lies in their transportation. Without wheels, metal, or beasts of burden, and on an island whose forests had gradually disappeared, the people of Rapa Nui somehow moved these giants across kilometers of uneven terrain. According to oral tradition, the statues walked. Modern experiments have confirmed that with a system of ropes and coordinated pulling, the statues can indeed sway forward in a controlled manner, step by step, as though alive. This technique requires precision, teamwork, and deep knowledge of balance, hallmarks of a sophisticated engineering culture. Beyond their monumental artistry, the Rapa Nui developed rongo rongo, an undeciphered system of glyphs carved into wooden tablets. Whether it represents a true written language or a mnemonic device remains unknown, but its existence on an isolated island is astonishing. Many moai are aligned with astronomical events, reflecting a worldview in which sky, earth, and ancestry were interconnected. In this remote corner of the world, the Rapa Nui proved that technological brilliance does not require vast empires, only imagination, unity, and an unbreakable bond with the land and stars. Petra's rock-cut wonders, water systems, and high mountain architecture of Hedra. In one of the driest regions on Earth, amid scorching winds and endless stretches of sand, the Nabateans achieved a miracle of human ingenuity. Their most iconic creation,
The city of Petra was not built in the traditional sense, it was carved. Hewn directly into rose-colored cliffs, its temples, tombs, and facades rise from the rock like sculpted visions, bearing witness to a civilization that transformed harsh desert into a thriving oasis. The Nabateans were master stonemasons. Using iron and copper chisels, they carved monumental structures from the top down, removing mountains of rock with precision that still amazes archaeologists. The treasury of Petra, with its Corinthian columns and intricate reliefs, appears almost impossibly delicate for a monument carved into a sheer cliff face. Every detail suggests a sophisticated understanding of geometry, symmetry, and structural stability. Yet if their stonework astonishes, their hydraulic engineering is even more remarkable. In a land where rainfall is rare and flash floods are deadly, the Nabateans developed a water management system so advanced that it allowed their desert cities to flourish for centuries. They built dams, underground channels, cisterns, and sedimentation basins that filtered and preserved precious water. Narrow channels carved along cliff faces diverted floodwater safely away from the city, while clay pipes delivered drinking water to homes and gardens. Farther south, in Hedra, modern Al-Ula in Saudi Arabia, the Nabateans applied the same genius. Dozens of tombs carved into towering sandstone formations reveal a blend of architectural influences, Egyptian, Mesopotamian, Greek, woven into a uniquely Nabatean style. The Nabateans proved that survival in the desert demanded more than strength. It required knowledge, adaptability, and the vision to shape both stone and water. Their legacy endures as a testament to a people who defied nature itself.
Rock-cut tombs suspended on mountain walls and monumental sarcophagi sculpted from single stones. Along the rugged coastline of southwestern Anatolia, where mountains plunge sharply into the turquoise Mediterranean, an ancient people carved their legacy into living stone. The Lycians, independent, fiercely proud, and remarkably skilled, left behind a unique architectural tradition that still inspires awe. Their cliffside tombs, suspended high above the valleys like gateways between worlds. These rock-cut tombs, etched directly into nearly vertical cliffs, were created with extraordinary precision. Many resemble wooden houses or miniature temples, complete with gabled roofs, carved beams, and decorative facades. Each tomb required not only artistic mastery, but also remarkable engineering skill. Workers had to suspend themselves on ropes or erect complex scaffolding over sheer drops, chiseling every detail while hanging above the void. Sites like Panara showcase entire cliff faces filled with these tombs, stacked layer upon layer, some perched as high as 50 meters above the ground. How ancient builders managed to carve such elaborate structures in such dangerous locations remains a marvel. The placement was not random. Height symbolized protection, separation from the mundane world, and closeness to the divine. For the Lycians, death was not an end, but a continuation, and the tomb became an eternal home. Their craftsmanship extended beyond cliffs. On the ground, Lycian sarcophagi, massive stone coffins carved from a single block, dot the landscape. Some weigh several tons and feature intricate reliefs, inscriptions, and curved house-like lids meant to shelter the spirit of the deceased. Many stand on hillsides or uneven terrain where transporting such heavy monuments seems almost impossible. The Lycian legacy revealed a people who blended artistry with daring innovation, transforming mountainsides into monumental cemeteries. Their tombs, poised between earth and sky, remain silent witnesses to a civilization that carved permanence into stone and elevated the architecture of memory to breathtaking heights.
Monte Alban's leveled summit, seismic architecture, and astronomical alignments. High in the rugged mountains of Oaxaca, where steep ridges carve the landscape and clouds drift low across the valleys, the Zapotec civilization undertook one of the most audacious engineering projects of the ancient world. Their greatest achievement, Monte Alban, did not simply rise from the earth, it was created by reshaping an entire mountain. To build their capital, the Zapotecs flattened the summit of a natural peak, removing and relocating vast quantities of rock and soil. Without metal tools, draft animals, or wheeled carts, they transformed a jagged ridge into a monumental plateau. The scope of this achievement is staggering. Terraces, retaining walls, and artificial platforms were carved into the mountain, forming a stable foundation for temples, plazas, and observatories. The result was a city in the sky, an architectural declaration of power, vision, and mastery over the landscape. Monte Alban was not randomly arranged. Its buildings align with astronomical events and the cardinal directions, suggesting a deep understanding of celestial cycles. From specific vantage points, priests could observe solstices and equinoxes, using the movement of the sun to guide agriculture, ritual, and governance. The city was also engineered to withstand earthquakes common in the region. Stone blocks, earth fill, and layered construction techniques absorbed seismic shocks, allowing Monte Alban to remain standing for centuries. Its elevated position was strategic, commanding views of the entire valley below, enabling the Zapotecs to monitor trade routes, rival settlements, and approaching visitors. More than a ceremonial center, Monte Alban was a symbol of dominance and cosmic order. By leveling mountains and aligning stone with stars, the Zapotecs created a space where the earthly and the divine converged. Their legacy endures as a reminder that ancient engineering often reached heights, both literal and intellectual, that modern minds are only beginning to appreciate.
Royal roads, wind towers, monumental capitals, and precise military organization. Stretching from the Aegean Sea to the plains of India, the Persian Empire rose as one of the most organized, interconnected, and technologically sophisticated civilizations of the ancient world. To govern such vast territory, encompassing dozens of cultures, languages, and landscapes, the Persians relied not only on military strength, but on innovations in architecture, administration, transportation, and environmental engineering. At the core of their success was the Royal Road, a monumental achievement in ancient infrastructure. Spanning over 2,500 kilometers, this network allowed royal messengers to carry information across the empire with astonishing speed. Mounted couriers rode from station to station, changing horses at intervals so efficiently that a message could cross the entire empire in days rather than months. It was an early forerunner of the modern postal system, proof that the power of Persia rested as much on communication as on conquest. The Persians also mastered the harsh climate of their desert heartlands. In cities like Yazd, they built bodgirs, or wind towers, ingenious structures that captured cool breezes and funneled them indoors, naturally regulating temperature centuries before mechanical air conditioning. Combined with underground water channels known as qanats, these technologies made life sustainable in arid landscapes. At Persepolis, the ceremonial capital, architecture became a language of unity and power. Majestic stairways, imposing columns, and intricate stone reliefs depicted delegations from across the empire bringing gifts to the king. Each figure, carved with distinct clothing and features, symbolized a world brought together under Persian rule. The city's design reflected harmony, symmetry, and political order, an architectural embodiment of imperial ideology. Even in warfare, Persia innovated. Specialized engineers built mobile bridges and siege equipment, while the elite immortals maintained a constant corps of 10,000 soldiers, projecting an aura of invincible might. The Persian Empire shows that great civilizations thrive not only through force, but through vision, through systems that connect, sustain, and elevate human society.
How ancient engineers carved and moved 30-ton Lamassu statues across Mesopotamia. In the ancient lands of Mesopotamia, where civilizations first rose between the Tigris and Euphrates, the Assyrians forged an empire renowned for its discipline, organization, and formidable engineering. Their cities, Nimrud, Nineveh, Khorsabad, stood as fortified centers of power, adorned with architectural marvels and guarded by some of the most iconic stone sculptures in antiquity, the Lamassu. These colossal guardian figures, part lion or bull, part eagle, part human, symbolized strength, divine protection, and royal authority. Carved from single massive blocks of stone, each Lamassu could weigh up to 30 tons. Their extraction required quarrying the stone from distant sites, shaping it with precision, and then transporting it across rough terrain without wheels or modern machinery. This logistical challenge demanded planning, manpower, and engineering insight far more complex than history often attributes to the era. Once installed at palace gateways, the Lamassu were not mere decorations. They were structural elements integrated into monumental entrances. Their positioning involved ramps, sledges, rollers, and thousands of coordinated workers moving in perfect rhythm. The creature's five-legged design was intentional. From the front, they appear still. From the side, they appear to stride forward, symbolizing vigilance from all directions. Assyrian achievements extended beyond sculpture. Their armies were supported by specialized engineers who built bridges, dug canals, and constructed siege towers capable of overwhelming fortified cities. They recorded information on clay tablets, creating archives that cataloged astronomy, medicine, mathematics, and state administration. Irrigation channels diverted river water to nourish fields, transforming arid plains into thriving agricultural zones. The Assyrians combined artistry with power, science with strategy. The Lamassu, silent, imposing, and intricately carved, remain enduring symbols of a civilization that mastered both the physical and symbolic forces of empire.
Cuneiform, calendars, ziggurats, and scientific observation that shaped all later civilizations. In the fertile lands of Mesopotamia, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers carved their way toward the Persian Gulf, humanity's first great cities emerged. Among them rose a civilization whose innovations would become the very foundation of modern society. The Sumerians. They were not just builders of cities, they were architects of concepts, creators of systems, and pioneers of knowledge that still shapes the world today. Long before telescopes or lenses, Sumerian priest astronomers climbed ziggurats, stepped temple towers that soared above their cities to watch the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. Night after night, they recorded celestial patterns on clay tablets with astonishing precision. Their observations gave birth to the first lunar calendar and the division of time as we know it, 24 hours in a day, 60 minutes in an hour, 60 seconds in a minute. These ideas, conceived over 4,000 years ago, remain unchanged in modern science. But their greatest leap forward was writing. With wedge-shaped impressions pressed into soft clay, they developed cuneiform, the world's first known writing system. What began as a method for accounting and inventories evolved into a vast library of myths, legal codes, poetry, and astronomical records. Through writing, the Sumerians preserved knowledge across generations, transcending the limitations of memory and oral tradition. Sumerian architecture also showcased remarkable engineering. Their ziggurats were not only places of worship, but feats of design, featuring drainage systems to protect them from rain and erosion.
Meanwhile, their legal innovations, such as the Code of Ur-Nammu, established structured laws that shaped governance long before more famous codes appeared. The Sumerians did not simply influence history, they defined its starting point. Through their mastery of time, writing, and the heavens, they laid the intellectual groundwork for every civilization that followed.
Road systems, aqueducts, amphitheaters, and the legendary lost invention of flexible glass. At the height of its power, the Roman Empire stretched across 3 continents, binding together diverse lands through a mastery of engineering unmatched in the ancient world. Rome was not simply a capital, it was a machine, a living system of roads, aqueducts, fortifications, and monumental architecture that allowed its influence to span thousands of kilometers. Wherever Roman legions marched, innovation followed. One of Rome's greatest contributions was its revolutionary concrete, opus caementicium. This durable material, strengthened by volcanic ash known as puzzolana, allowed Romans to build structures of enormous scale and remarkable longevity. The Pantheon's dome, still the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome, stands as a breathtaking reminder of their ingenuity. After nearly 2,000 years, it remains intact, its oculus opening the temple to the sky, just as it did in antiquity. Equally impressive were Rome's aqueducts. With mathematical precision, engineers designed channels that carried fresh water across vast distances. The aqueduct of Segovia and the Pont de Gaude continue to tower over modern landscapes, their perfectly balanced arches demonstrating a mastery of weight distribution and hydraulic flow. These systems delivered millions of liters of clean water every day, fueling baths, fountains, households, and entire urban infrastructures. Rome's roads formed the arteries of the empire. Over 400,000 kilometers of meticulously layered highways connected military outposts, trading centers, and capitals across Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. Their construction was so advanced that many Roman roads are still in use today. Inside their cities, amphitheaters like the Colosseum showcased sophisticated mechanical systems, trapdoors, lifts, and stages built from wood, stone, and iron. Roman military engineers, meanwhile, designed siege machines, mobile towers, and catapults that reshaped ancient warfare. Rome's empire was built not just on conquest, but on innovation, an enduring legacy of engineering brilliance that continues to shape the world.
Shipbuilding, astronomical navigation, Tyrian purple, and the alphabet that shaped global writing. Along the sunlit coasts of the eastern Mediterranean, between rugged mountains and restless waves, the Phoenicians built a maritime civilization that would forever alter the shape of human history. From the bustling ports of Tyre, Sidon, and Byblos, they launched ships that stitched together continents, carrying not only goods but ideas, languages, and technologies across vast distances. The Phoenicians were master shipwrights. Their vessels, distinguished by double prows, could maneuver quickly and reverse direction without turning, an invaluable feature in narrow harbors or during sudden storms. With sturdy hulls and advanced sail designs, these ships ventured farther than any Mediterranean culture before them. Guided by the stars, Phoenician sailors crossed open seas at night, using constellations like Ursa Major and bright stars such as Sirius and Canopus to chart precise courses. They mapped seasonal winds, plotted reliable maritime routes, and pushed beyond the known world, perhaps reaching as far as the British Isles in search of tin, a metal vital for bronze making. Their voyages brought wealth, but their true legacy lay in the tools of culture they carried with them. Among their most transformative innovations was the Phoenician alphabet. Simple, efficient, and composed of only 22 characters, it represented sounds rather than complex symbols. Easy to learn, easy to teach, It became the blueprint for Greek, Latin, Hebrew, and eventually the writing systems used across much of the modern world. Their mastery of chemistry produced another treasure, Tyrian purple, a dye extracted from the murex sea snail. So valuable, it became the color of kings. This vibrant purple required thousands of shells and a delicate process of fermentation and sunlight. The Phoenicians were not conquerors, they were connectors. Through navigation, trade, and communication, they linked distant civilizations, spreading the seeds of cultural exchange that would shape the ancient world and echo across millennia. Sumela Monastery, incendiary warfare, and the engineering of Hagia Sophia.
reflecting on the mysteries left unsolved and the possibility of discovering traces of a lost global civilization. As our journey through the ancient world draws to a close, one truth becomes unmistakable. History is far from complete. Beneath deserts, beneath oceans, beneath layers of forgotten soil, there may lie entire chapters of humanity's story still waiting to be uncovered. The structures we study, the pyramids, megaliths, temples, observatories, are not merely remnants of old civilizations. They are fragments of a larger puzzle, hence of a technological and intellectual heritage far more complex than our modern assumptions allow. Across continents, we've seen societies achieve extraordinary feats. Precise stonework in the Andes, astronomical observatories in Mesoamerica, flood myths mirrored across the globe, hydraulic systems defying nature in the desert, and monuments whose origins remain shrouded in mystery. Each culture developed in isolation, yet many shared similar techniques, symbols, and cosmological ideas. Is this convergence the result of parallel innovation, or the echo of a forgotten ancestor civilization that once connected humanity before disaster erased its tracks? What if the myths of a golden age, the legends of gods who taught knowledge, and the stories of great floods are not fiction, but distant memories of a time erased by catastrophic change? And if that is true, then what remains hidden beneath the sands of Giza, under the jungles of Guatemala, or at the bottom of the world's rising seas? Archaeology continues to advance. Technologies like ground-penetrating radar, satellite scanning, and underwater mapping are revealing buried cities and forgotten monuments at an accelerating pace. Each discovery challenges old timelines, reshapes our understanding, and pushes us closer to answers that once seemed impossible. Perhaps the greatest mystery is not what ancient civilizations built, but what they left behind for us to rediscover. The past still speaks. We have only begun to listen. We've journeyed across continents and through thousands of years, uncovering clues that challenge everything we thought we knew about human history. From impossible stones to forgotten sciences, one truth becomes undeniable. The ancient world was far more advanced and far more mysterious than our textbooks admit. But this is only the beginning. New discoveries are emerging every year, buried beneath deserts, jungles, oceans, and even under our modern cities. And each one brings us closer to uncovering the truth about the civilizations that came before us. If this documentary opened your eyes, imagine what the next one will reveal. Subscribe to join us on our next expedition into the unknown. Like this video if you want more mysteries of lost civilizations. And comment below, which ancient technology shocked you the most? The past is speaking, and together we'll uncover its secrets.